All right, everybody. Today we're going to be changing some spark plugs in this boat motor. It is a 4-cylinder engine, 90 horsepower. Ran these plugs all last season. Didn't really have much of a problem with them, but it's good practice to change the spark plugs every year in your 2-stroke engines. They do foul out eventually, just because, you know, they have 2-stroke oil mixed with the gas, and eventually they tend to burn out. So I haven't taken these out yet. Getting ready to. I also have some tools here. I've got my spark plugs. I've got a spark plug gapper, and if you'll notice, I have a little black mark on there, and that's where the spark plugs need to be gapped at. They're actually going to be gapped at 30 thousandths. I got my inch-pounds torque wrench. I have a calculator here because I kind of had to convert foot-pounds to inch-pounds, and I'll show you how to do that. And I've got my ratchet. So if you have to convert foot-pounds to inch-pounds, the way to do that is we're going to take 23, and we're going to multiply it by 12 times 12, because there's 12 inches in a foot, and that equals 276 inch-pounds. So I've already got this torque wrench set to 276 inch-pounds. So that's all set to go. My plug gap is going to be 30 thousandths, and that's where I marked the black mark on my gapper. I have not gapped these plugs yet, and I'll show you how to do that. So the first thing we got to do is remove the old plugs. So in order to do that, we don't want to use a torque wrench to do that. We want to use a regular ratchet. All right, here we go. Hopefully you guys can see everything that I do here. We're going to take these plug wires off. You'll notice that the bottom one is longer, so I don't really have to pay attention too much to how these come off. The bottom one is here, the top one's here, and that's where they come out of the engine. Same thing with this side, top one, bottom one. So we're gonna pull all these off. You have to be careful. Pull on the boot, don't pull on the wire, or you'll pull the wire right out of the inside of the boot, and then you have a little mess on your hands because then you have to redo this. So we're gonna take these plugs out. Like I said, I have not had these out yet. Gonna break them all loose. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. There's one. When you take these out, you want to kind of take a look at them and make sure that you don't have one that looks way different than the others. I don't know if you can see those. Hopefully you can. They're about the same. Got a little oil on them. That's normal. So there's those two. I'll take the other two out. Pretty easy engine to work on. They're not all this easy. Another thing I want to pay attention to is whether I have any cracked porcelain or anything like that around this spark plug. I also want to pay attention to the spark plug number. These are BPR 7HS. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. Look at these ones. About the same quality. Looks like they've been burning about the same, which is good. One thing you can do on a 2-stroke engine, or any engine for that matter, is you could do a compression check. I do not have that here today. I would like to do that maybe some other day, maybe another video. All right, so what I got to do now is we're going to open these plugs up. Take them out of the boxes. I ordered these online. I did not go to the parts store. Just kind of saved me going to town, and you know, didn't want to chance it. They took a little extra time to come in, but I didn't have to talk to anybody. They just arrived at my door, and they're gonna have this protective cover on them. Take them all out of the package. If you drop one of these, chances are it's not going to be any good because it does crack the porcelain and then it won't work correctly or at all. So you're probably going to have to buy a new one. So be careful not to drop these. So we're going to take these protective covers off. Next thing we want to do is compare the plugs, right? They're both NGKR. Hopefully you can see that. I know it's a little bit of a glare in here. And then turn it. BPR7HS. BPR7HS. They are identical plugs. No difference. Okay. The only thing, we have not gapped the new ones yet. So what we have to do now is we have to gap the spark plug. Hopefully I don't have too much glare here. You're going to put the plug on down where it says like 20 thousandths, okay? And you'll see that it does fit on there, and you kind of work that over, and you'll see that I'm stopped before that black line. Hopefully you can see that. Well, that means my gap is too small. So I need to take this plug off, and this little part right here is your spark plug gap opener. You take your plug, put it in this little groove, and you just pull up very slightly on it. And there you have it. Now my plug is at 30 thousandths. Perfect. So that one is done. I go to my next one. And you want to check them all. See how tight that one is? That one will hardly even get on there. So I'm going to put that in my little spacer. Just pull a little. Okay, I lack just a little bit. It's very important to gap your plugs. They're designed to be gapped at a certain amount. And if they're not gapped properly, you're not going to get the right fire in your engine to ignite the air-fuel mixture. There we go. That one is good. So we move on to the next one. These are not pre-gapped from the factory. Some are, however. And a lot of times on the package, it'll tell you whether or not you need to gap those. Okay, that one is right on. Hopefully you can see that. Here's the next one. They're all about the same. They all need to be gapped a little bit bigger. Doesn't take much. You don't have to pull too hard on them. Needs a little bit more. There we go. Right on the money. Okay, so we're all done gapping our plugs. That's pretty easy. Next step is we're going to install the plugs. I am not going to put Loctite on these plugs, and I'm not going to put anti-seize on these plugs. This is a two-stroke engine, and as you can see from the old ones, they get plenty of oil. Normally they don't lock up in a two-stroke engine. So I'm going to put my socket on, my spark plug socket, but I'm not going to start it with the socket wrench. I'm going to go over and I'm going to start all these by hand. So we're going to do that now. We're going to put these in. They do have a crush, what's called a crush washer on the spark plug. And when you tighten that down, you'll feel that spark plug washer will actually squish. And that is your seal between the spark plug and the cylinder head. Okay, we got those two started. And you want to start these all the way in by hand. Okay, there's that one. Now, I like to keep my old plugs. I usually put them in the boat somewhere because, like I said, you can foul the plug out on the water. And these plugs aren't necessarily bad plugs. They still work. The motor still ran fine. But they're not garbage. You could keep them in your boat in case you foul one. You could put one in out on the water. I always keep a small ratchet like this in the boat with a spark plug socket on it or a spark plug tool. And that way, if I have to change one out on the water, I can, and I don't have to, run the boat on 3 cylinders to get back to the shoreline. Okay, so I've got my torque wrench set. I can now put this on here. Be very careful. Make sure that your socket is all the way on. If you're back here somewhere and you're not on it, you could crack that porcelain. You want to be very careful of that. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn this. You'll hear it click. I've got it tight. you're gonna feel that crush washer start to squish. It's turning. Now it's starting to tighten up. And you're gonna hear this torque wrench click. Now do it a couple of times. Make sure that it's torqued. And then move on to your next one. Okay, there's those two. That one. There you have it. So, the only thing we have left to do now is these are actual screw-on tips. Okay, they have threads in the ends of these. So what I like to do is I like to maybe take a pair of pliers and check this and see if these are tight. Because if that falls off, your spark plug wire is going to fall off with it. So you can take a pair of pliers and lightly tighten these. Not too tight. You just want to snug them up. And that one was actually pretty loose, so it's a good thing I checked them. Okay, so now you're going to put your plug wires on. Top one, right? Top plug wire goes on the top. Make sure it's all the way seated on the plug. You'll feel it snap. Line up my plug wires so that they're all out of the way for when I put my case back on. This side on. And put this side on. Okay. There, so now I've got brand new plugs for the year. Hopefully I don't foul them. They'll last a whole nother summer. But every year it's good preventative maintenance to put new plugs in. Same thing, you know, in your vehicle, you put 30, 40,000 miles on. Probably a good time to change them, especially on an older vehicle. In newer vehicles, they have a lot different plug, which are actually really good, and they probably only need to be changed maybe every 100,000 miles. Actually, they probably don't even recommend you do it until then. Next project, maybe we got some fuel line coming. I don't know if you can see this. I got to change some fuel line, put some new fuel line in the carburetors, and maybe we'll make another video of that another day. So that's it for today. If you guys have any questions or anything you want answered or comment, kind of talk to your friends about it, talk to us about it, and let us know what you think. Stay healthy, wash your hands. You guys all have a good day.